Listen, welcome to, this is Thursday night, MC Facebook Live. We're on our 109th episode. I think you ought to give it up for that. In search of awesome, we're always out in Facebook cyberspace and Instagram cyberspace looking for someone that's going to crush it. And I found another one, and this one is just a great story. Calissa Noel is my guest tonight from Salon, Colombia, Missouri. Salon owner is Sarah El Tumi. Hey, Sarah, thanks for allowing Calissa to hang out with me, will ya? And Calissa said, Michael Cole, I will kill you if you don't mention the Salon media coordinator, Ellen Crane, because she's a big part of, she supports Calissa. So Calissa, I got that covered. And then, of course, her summit coach, Roberta Dotson, Bobby Dotson. I think you ought to give it up for the whole team. Let me, before I bring Calissa on, I want to tell you a little bit about why I asked her to come on tonight, because her story is unique. We're doing a little bit of a different slant. I'll get to that in a second. She hangs out at just this side of 100 grand. She's going to crush it this year. She went from a level 1 to a level 4A inside of a year. She's only 25 years old, man, and she's already making big boom. Her average service day is $575, but that's going up as we speak. Average service ticket is $100, haircut is $50, so she's coloring anything that moves. Referrals are running at about 120, rebook 75 points, and RTS 20 as well. What else can I tell you about her? She's graduated from high school in 2011. She graduates from hair school in 12, and she starts at Salon Nafisa in 13. I think she's been there like 5 years, and she's just crushing it big time. She's been working with an associate, you guys, since she was 22. So she's really in the game. She hangs out with a Galaxy 8. That's the bomb. She's got about 1,000 people following her on Instagram. Coco Couture Artistry is her handle. She's got, for all intents and purposes, the overwhelming majority of her clients are following her guests. And she claims that about 80% of her referrals come in from IG. So she's knocking it out. She's doing about 25, 26 guests a week, a dozen photo shoots, 15 pictures per shoot. So she's in the game big time. 80% of her guests plus are either reposting her content or they're doing selfies, right? And she is a big time user. I just saw she was posting on Instagram stories today, doing some live videos. So on that as well. So before I bring her on, her story is, and I don't want to tell you about it, but rather than taking you way back. She just walked through just her first extraordinary life change. I don't want to take the wind out of the sails. And then she came back, had a profound learning experience, and now she's in a whole different place at a 4AA. I'm going to let her tell that story. But when I met her and I heard her story, I said, girl, I got to have you on because you're like knocking it out of the park. So pray that the Wi-Fi gods are working. I'm going to bring her up. I'm going to see if she's in our little blue room. There she is. Give it up for her, will you guys? How you doing?
I'm good.
Oh, thanks for hanging out with us tonight, Calissa. I'm just so excited to have you on the show.
I'm excited too.
Well, listen, you and I were chatting, and I just absolutely loved your story. You know, there's like the before part, and then the when I came back part, and then how it is now. So get us started with this story and how it relates to you as a 4AA, kind of reinventing yourself.
So before maternity leave, I was working with 2 associates, working on my numbers to finally obtain AA. And then I was pregnant. I got pregnant last year in April, so I was pregnant almost the full year of last year. And then I had my first child in February of this year. And so leaving on maternity leave was very scary to me. I was really kind of nervous because that's a big life change to go through. And it's a lot to kind of give up a lot of guests because you lose a lot of your guest count when you leave for certain periods of time. So I was nervous about that, and I only lost a few when I was gone. And I think it's just because I kept in really good contact and I kept posting on social media and stuff even as I was off of leave. I came back at the beginning of March of this year without an associate, just due to not knowing when I was going to be back, and not having one ready for me yet. And then a big thing changed that I realized when I came back after the full month of March.
What was the big thing?
So last March, with 2 associates, I believe $2,000 or close to $2,300 off of what I made for this March. So my services were only $2,000 different, and I actually made more in retail by myself this year in March without an associate.
Yeah, I'm holding up the PowerPoint so the world can see it. So as I'm reading it, like last March, you had like a $14,000 service month, which is just, that is huge. And you said, you know, your story has been working with associates since you're 22. So you've kind of like Jedi'd that. And then your retail was at just over a couple $1,000. Average day was $700. Average ticket is $93. Then you come back for a little while with no associates, and you did just under 12 grand. And look at that retail. I mean, you took your retail, what was it, from 21 with 2 associates?
I think it was from 15% to 20.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at the dollars. It was just over 2 grand with 2 associates. All by yourself, you were just this side of 2,300. And your average service day all by yourself was $585, and you even took up your average ticket. So you're all by yourself now, and that's happening. And I thought you were going to tell me I'm never going to go back and work with an associate again, but that's not what you told me. You told me you had some big OMG. So tell us about what you learned from that.
So I think I had 4 big things that I took away. Mostly, the first one was prior to my maternity leave, I delegated a lot of doing our daily tracking and our daily planning to the associate to give them kind of the hands-on experience. And at first, when I started doing that, I thought I was utilizing it properly. And then now that I'm back, I realized when I have to do my own planning again, how much work it was and how much I was actually not realizing I was upselling or wasn't upselling on a lot of my service tickets. And so whenever I had to go back and do it all over by myself again after a period of 3 years, I realized that having them track and tell me what our goals are for the day, it was better for us to do it together so we could plan and have it in the back of both of our minds. And in turn, that actually caused my service ticket and my retail to go up because I was making offerings that were always there, but I never paid enough attention to realize they were there.
So you now, after you were back for a little while, you started working with an associate again, right?
Yes, and just recently, about a week ago.
Yeah, and I want to make sure that our viewers are seeing this. So now you're coming back. You had some time with associates. You were trending when you were working with your associates in April and May to do just under 15 grand a month. I know that's your goal, and so you took it from like 14 up 1,000. I mean, the retail, your trending is just off the charts. I think, like 30 plus. Your average day is up. Your average ticket is up. And it's because you're now way more involved in the planning part with your associate rather than just handing that off and delegating. You're going, no, let's do this together so that we're much, much more intentional.
Well, and what's funny about that too, my current associate, Madison, well, first off, she's phenomenal. But secondly, she didn't realize, I guess, prior to working with me, she didn't think about the types of offering we could make a guest. When you're a level 4A or 4AA, you book on the 45. And so when you have somebody coming in for a cut, she never even imagined or thought of offering them a color, because she has all the finishing times for me. And so when you book like that and you book every 45 minutes, I was like, we're not meeting our goals for today, but we have 3 haircuts. One of those could be a color. So let's offer that person a color if they need it.
And she's a part of that conversation.
Yeah, and when we did it, she looked at me and she said, I would have never thought to make that my additional offering. And when we actually offered it that day to two of our guests, two of them got color. And we ended up meeting our goal for that day, both of them.
Wow.
So, I mean, I think it's just the offerings are always there, but I think taking the time on my own to realize that I'm able to make those once I have an extra set of hands made me realize that I was underutilizing the associates too.
Yeah, I think that's the point of all points that just kind of like blew my mind. It was almost like a divine intervention that when you came back, you didn't have associates, so it kind of forced you to like work one-on-one with your guests, which had been a long time. And you know, paraphrasing, you kind of woke up to, wow, I'm taking way too much for granted. I'm delegating way too much out to my associates. I'm taking my guests for granted. Taking my associates for granted. And now they're back, and it's like you're like born again. You know, level 4 double A. And now you're way more intent. It sounds like there's just a lot more teamwork going on between you, your associate, and that you're way more attentive to your guest than you've ever been.
Yeah, and I mean, I've had a lot of guests give me a lot of feedback too of the fact that I'm no longer just kind of delegating in front of them. I include the guests in a lot of what we're doing. So if I have the associate want to blow dry, I kind of walk the associate through what I want done and then include the guest in it, and they say they feel more involved. And I feel like the only reason they do that is because I was back to them by myself. And it made me realize I need to respect my guests and make it less about me and more about all of us together as a team.
Yeah, I'll be showing your PowerPoint later on, but as I'm listening to you, your PowerPoints say it all. I was underutilizing my associates, you know, not anymore. I was delegating way too much of my planning and to tracking to my associates, you know, not anymore. and you know, we're doing that together, and it's me and my associates that are continuing to give my guests an experience that's, you know, knock your socks off. And so it's not like you weren't doing that before, but it sounds like now you've taken it up like 100 notches.
Yeah. Well, and it helps too. I think, you know, as an educator and within a salon, I think whatever you permit, you promote. And so I think it's important for the rest of the team members to see that teamwork and to see the effort and the customer service as well. And I think if the whole salon starts to do that, then your salon gets this, it gets kind of this reputation to have such a great customer service. And I think that that's important.
Yeah, and then, you know, the other thing you were telling me on the phone call was since coming back, you've created a new referral program using social in a real different way. And I think I saw one of your tutorials today on Instagram stories. In a nutshell, talk about what that is.
Okay, so Ellen had us start a social media challenge about a month ago. I think for the month of March, she had us do social media challenge. And I've been continuing it since then. And what I thought I would do is, you know, you can only wear out the $20 referral so many times. And so the new referral program I created was called a billboard model. And what I did is I posted on my Instagram, on my story, and on my page that I was in search of a client of mine, either new or previous, that if they came in and got a color and then tagged themselves with the salon and me in a selfie, and then referred 3 new color guests to me, all within a month, they get their next color for free.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So that was the offer to your guest in the chair.
Yes.
And then, are you tying your any of your? I see just you doing a lot of more tutorials on Instagram profiles. Like, in a nutshell, what is that?
So I have a lot of guests too that talk a lot about what we do behind the chair and talk a lot about, oh, well, she teaches me this, or she shows me how to do this, or her associates and her work together and do this. And a lot of people want to know what that feels like before coming to my chair for the first time. And so I post a lot of tutorials and videos and time lapses of us doing services and us talking about it and teaching services behind the chair. And then I also post a lot of tutorials on how to do things like beach waves and set up a consultation for color and, you know, multiple different things that you can do to get the guest more involved.
So I'm gonna send the viewers to your Instagram page, because I was, you know, when I scroll now, I follow you, and you're just almost on a daily basis, finding new, brand new ways of using Instagram stories and profiles to really include your guests and actually show the makeovers and the tutorials. So it's just phenomenal. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, we got a couple minutes left, so I want to fly by your keys. Your first key, I think you have like 4 keys. What are your keys?
Key 1 is to be grateful for the associates' time and extra pair of hands because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Key 2 is to focus on the guest. They're honestly what make your career and your passion the same thing. And truthfully, they're what bring an income into you. So to take time with them and make sure that they have the right at-home hair regimen as well as they're being taken care of. Third key, social media is 100% where I'm at in my life right now. And it's just getting bigger and bigger every day. And then the fourth key is making sure that the guest and your associate and yourself are happy. Kind of having that triple win for the salon. You know, the guest is happy, you're happy, the salon's happy.
I love it. You hit it out of the freaking park, Calissa. Now, before we say goodbye, I need you to give the viewer your last words. You're in a place, frankly, that, you know, most people don't get in 30 years, never mind 5. And there's a lot of people that are way on the front end. They're maybe in school, getting out of school. They're watching this and they're going, oh my God, I want to be like that when I grow up, if you will. What might you say to them that might get them off to a better start than they would otherwise?
Well, first off, I heard at a summit that I went to in Florida 2 years ago where Randy Kunkel spoke. And he said, everything that happens in life is all about the story and the life experience. And once you can tell that story and change others' lives, then you can pass it on and be a difference maker. And so I live to be a difference maker every day. And I think that if you put the love into what you do and you work your ass off, the numbers and the money will just happen.
I love it. Give it up for one more time, you guys. Listen, this is probably a best yet interview, so you did real good, my friend. I just want to thank you for hanging out. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to summarize what we said, and then I'm going to want you back here later on in the year to kind of keep up with you to see if you're going to hit that that big lofty goal of about 15 grand a month in service. So would you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to.
All right. Listen, I'm going to let you go. Thanks again, and I'll text you once I get this behind me.
Sounds good.
All right. Stay well.
Bye.
Bye. Give it up for her one more time, you guys. That was nothing short of amazing. I just got to summarize what she said real quick because it was freaking phenomenal. So, you know, what I heard her say in a nutshell was that, you know, she's working with an associate forever. She takes a little bit of a sabbatical before she leaves. She's doing like 14 grand a month, couple of grand in retail, comes back all by herself because she didn't have associates. And, you know, a couple of steps back, just under 12 grand in service. But because she's much, much more present with her guests, her retail goes from, 2,100 to just under 2,300, and she's all by herself. Like over here, she's got 2 sets of hands. And her average ticket goes up from 93 to 100, and her average day, she's holding her own at 585. But that's not the point of the interview. The point of the interview was what she learned from this. She's back working with her associates again, but she is way more awake. Look at the days now. She's just under 15 grand for a month. Her retail is off the freaking chart. She's, you know, darn near more than double the retail. Her RTS, you know, goes from 15 to 36, average day 720, average ticket 100. And what I got from her as I was listening to her tonight is that, you know, she realized when she was by herself, she's underutilizing her associates. She was delegating way too much of her planning and tracking, and that's what's keeping her mindfulness low. So she's back doing that. Now they do it together. It's a team thing, and she's got more focus and respect for her guests. I mean, that's what I heard her say. And now she's got a great referral program cooking, and she's really, really, really utilizing Instagram stories and profiles to do guest tutorials. Like she's got now her guest involved in her video, so you're going to want to hang out on her page to take a peek at that. I love what she said. She's grateful now. She utilizes her associates more. She's more focused on her guest. She's using social media, discovering new ways on using social on a weekly basis, doing one heck of a lot more tutorials, and then she's putting more focus on her guest, and as a result, she's got a lot more of her guests on her home hair care regime. So she's, I think she just did a ginormous job. Give it up for her one more time. All right, so it was a great show. I think we made history tonight, you guys. So if you're new to us and you're hanging out on the page, tonight you're on Michael Cole Summit Facebook. This is where we do Facebook Lives. And we'll continue to do them. So every Thursday night's become a tradition. Hang out on Michael Cole Summit. Instagram as well. I'm posting on that every single day. Check out our social media online virtual services. If you're just getting in the game, we now can coach you online with regard to social. So call our 800 number for that. If you're new, you should be living on summitsalon.com. I mean, there's just so much resource there, it's not even funny anymore. So get on there. If you /MC Live, you're going to see all of the video tutorials we've done over the last 2 years. This was episode 109. This will take you all the way back to episode 1 and catch up. I mean, this is all under the sponsorship of Summit and L'Oreal PPD. Hang out on our product store, because now the planner is being used as much for planning to use social media to fill in your empty windows of time as it was in the good old days a couple of years ago, where we were just using the planner to upsell. This has become the official text, over the top. Hang out with that as well. Take advantage of our calculator pages now. We're setting goals, and they're very user-friendly calcs. You find those on summitsalon.com. Just scroll the homepage. You'll see it really easy to follow. We even have video tutorials if you need them. Download a free tracking app, Measure What You Treasure. And so we always like to end it by just thanking our sponsor, L'Oreal Professional Products. We got Redken, we got Pureology, we got Matrix, we got L'Oreal Professional, Kerastase, Baxter, Shu, Mazzani, Essie. They're all great, because of their financial support, we're able to do stuff like this. And of course, it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it, Salon Centric, State Beauty, and RDA Pro. Those are the distribution arms that make this happen. Why am I telling you this? Because these people sponsor the work. They make Summit Salon Business Center, which I'm a part of, able to bring you this kind of information. So it's been an awesome evening. I'm going to say good night, and I'm going to see you next week for another show.